Peace. Greetings to you all. It's your brother Naheem, BKA Lord Abbott, aka Mr. Just the Facts. I'm not, I always say I'm not going to stay on here long. I'm going to stop saying that, but I wanted to have a conversation today. I wanted to touch on some of the things that's going on. I'll wait for some of the people to come in. This was basically unprompted, to be honest with you, after listening to the audio that came out of the meeting between Biden and the black, I guess that was this Congressional Black Caucus, which included Al Sharpton, and listening to that was just, I mean, it was absolutely damning. It was damning. So I'm gonna wait for a few people to come in, and we go from there. Peace to the family that's in here. Ali Dawu L, I see you. Since I'm here, one, I see you. Swig 13 said that's disrespectful. Let me share this out so people know we live. We'll talk about some things today. It's a little, I mean, I just got in one of those zones, family. I'm looking at what's going on, and outside of the stimulus thing, and I'm going to get into that as well. The rhetoric coming from the Republicans. I see you, ADOS Roots, Don Thomas, Bob Sanders. Peace, fam. The rhetoric that is coming out of the right now is, is dangerous. Peace, Salam Al Faiz said Detroit is in the house. Peace to my Detroit fam. The rhetoric that's coming out of right-wing America is dangerous, family. It is dangerous. You've heard us reference a book on BTP on several of occasions called The Bloody Shirt. The Bloody Shirt is a book that highlights the Reconstruction era, not from a academic standpoint, right? But it's hard to say it from, you got to say it's from an academic standpoint, but it's based on the conversations and interviews that a Northern reporter had with many Southerners in the South. There was a level of brutality that was highlighted in that particular book that, I mean, we know about all of this stuff, man. And but when you're reading The Bloody Shirt, there's something about it that it's just different. There's another book that I'm reading called White Too Long. Brother James Sumler, thank you for the contribution, family. There's another book that I'm reading. I'm actually listening to it on Audible called White Too Long. The second chapter is how Christianity, don't get me to messing it up. So I'll paraphrase. Basically, how Christianity is the main engine of white supremacy. And it speaks to the atrocities of what these people were doing to our people. I mean, atrocious. One man they wrapped up in chains, burned them alive. Old white men, Christians stood around singing, "Glory, glory, glory." Like, these people are devils. We gotta be mindful of the rhetoric that we hear that's going on right now, family, because the rhetoric that we hear right now is dangerous. It is dangerous. It is absolutely dangerous, and white supremacy is built up off of anti-blackness. It's just simple as that. This is why we had to do that live stream on black ethnicity. Like, we can't pussyfoot around with this thing anymore. We can't. We can't. So, my brother Ali Bey is in the building. Peace, brother Ali.
Peace. Peace. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I hear you, bro.
All right. Yeah, I'm on the cell phone tonight.
No,
You know?
I'm just want to have a brief convo. I always say that. I just said I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna stop saying
It's
that.
all good.
But I'm, there's a bunch of stuff that I want to get to. I want to get to Mitch McConnell. We're gonna get into that, and then we'll get into the Biden audio because we need some we need some breakdowns of this stuff. And in some ways, and in some ways, I understand what he was saying, right? From a political feasibility standpoint. I have to be honest in that. But I mean, come on, man. Somebody said, what flag is that? Now, it's a flag that a brother on Twitter created. It is a mixture of the African American heritage flag and the Juneteenth flag. I absolutely love it. I am going to get like real flags made out of it. I've already spoken with the brother who designed it, and he okayed it. So that's going to be one of the freedom flags right there. And if not the main freedom flag, it's going to definitely be a battle flag, because we need some battle flags right now, and we need some warriors. There's a movie called El Cid,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a scene, I think it's probably the beginning or maybe the opening scene of the movie. I can't remember. It's been a while since I've seen it. And, the God, he's supposed to be a Moorish ruler, but they use some European with a tan and eyeliner. And, he comes and says, when people speak of Spain, they speak of poets and music makers and, all of these different things. He said, where are your warriors? I love that. I love that scene. And the reason why he was so adamant was because the Christians were trying to burn down and push out the Moors from out of Europe. Of course, the Europeans are going to tell the story twisted, but I bring that up to say, where are our warriors, man? We are listening to some people that don't have warrior spirit in them at all. They talk good, but at the end of the day, man, a lot of these brothers are simps and incels. Like, we just got to call it for what it is. We don't have real leadership. Boots on. Even Dr. King, right? Dr. King was nonviolent, but he was in them streets. Dr. King was in them streets. But right now, we are witnessing a rise in rhetoric at levels that we need to, like, we really need to step up. We have to be about more than talking, because reparations is an issue. We need reparations. That's how we close the racial wealth chasm that separates the so-called white people from the so-called black people in the United States of America. Peace, Riri, peace, fam, peace, everybody that's just coming in. I see y'all. And peace, sister Shayna, brother Joseph Thompson, Vince Jefferson, shout out. I'm coming to get my bike back. But we need some warriors, man. It's like, we just got to be honest about this thing. our academics, our intellectualism, our ability to analyze data and like that, that is needed. Don't get me wrong. We need that. Without that, we can't move the needle forward legislation wise. Of course, we need that. But where are our warriors, man? I watched the video my brother Ali Bey put in our inbox. I don't know if that was, I don't think it was CNN. It looked like NBC or MSNBC. Could have been CNN. And there was a trans guy, a trans man, it's not a woman, a trans man that was talking about how trans people were always the freedom fighters and that they've been fighting for black issues since forever. Like, what? Y'all just go ahead, Ali. Speak to that, bro.
Well, it's delusional. Obviously, I don't even know what that guy was talking about. I don't know what he was talking about. I'm trying to figure out, when we think about the freedom fighters in American history, whether that is Harriet Tubman, Nat Turner, whoever, right? Which one of them were trans?
That's right.
I don't know what he's talking about. So maybe he's talking about Bayard Rustin. But Bayard Rustin was a homosexual. He wasn't a trans.
That's right. That's right. That's right. And look, let me say real quick, Ali. We're, like I said on Be the Powers channel on this platform before, we're not here to bash them people that have made that choice in their life. That's not what we're doing. But it's convoluted. I'm hearing from my brother Josh and my brother Logic about what's going on in the Clubhouse, this new app that's catching fire, and mostly all of the conversations devolve into LGBTQ stuff. So it goes from reparations into LGBT, but what about LGBTQ, right? Like, people, we got to be real. If you are a African American in the United States of America, your chances of being violated or discriminated against or shot down by police officers or some racist white Confederate flag waving spawns of the Confederacy are just as high as anybody else's. You're busy fighting for somebody else's rights. And I got to call it how it is. And if you don't like it, oh well. You're fighting for somebody else's rights. Like Dave Chappelle said, when he broke it down by letters, L, G's, B's, C's, he said the G's are the drivers of the car. And they're usually white men. They got the money. What are you fighting for? Because they passed LGBTQ reparations already. I can pull up the article. They passed something in that form, right? So, like, we gotta. Let me see. Let me pull this up. We gotta be real here. We have to be real here. Now let's pull this up. Let's pull this up. Because I don't even know what's in this thing. To be honest with you, I never took the time to try to look at it, other than when the articles first got posted. This was posted by Judy Chu, U.S. Congresswoman, 27th District of California. This ain't posted by a sister, right? Friday Jones in California, because our people in that state have been reduced because of poverty and impoverished conditions. This is Judy Chu. Hey, it is what it is, right? Now, it says House unanimously passes Pride Act to fix LGBT discrimination and tax code. Like, they're already getting stuff done. Biden is saying, wait till after the election. He told Ice Cube that. Wait till after the election. So You bring on Ice Cube, and we touched on this platform, to Roland Martin. Then you bring on, what was her name?
Alicia Garza.
Alicia Garza, in a way that you neuter manhood, that you neuter the warrior class from amongst us. And so a person like Ice Cube gets ridiculed, and people like Billy Porter gets a stage on the Democratic National Convention. Like we gotta address this stuff, family. I'm sorry. Like I said, this ain't bashing, but if we don't recognize what's going on with our people, they're using Black LGBT people to go against the straight people. They're using Black women to go against Black men. How are you not seeing this pattern, fam? How? Please explain to me how you're not seeing. You want to add something, Ali?
Here's what I get out of that. And this is me. It's not BTP. This is me. What I get out of that is that anybody who engages in behavior that is anti the Black family unit, meaning man, woman, and child, is by default, de facto, a white supremacist. I don't care what you pretending to be or claiming to be, as long as you're engaging in behavior that is anti the maintenance or the exaltation and the upliftment of the Black family unit, man, woman, and child, you are de facto a white supremacist.
Talk about it. Talk about it.
There's no way around it. I don't care what you feel inside. I don't care if it's Alicia Garza. I don't care who it is. You're de facto a white supremacist.
Facts. Because, fam, I don't know if y'all see what's going on out there, man. And we don't have a Black Panthers group today. We got NFAC, and I'm not gonna knock that, brother. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna knock Grandmaster Jay. I think that's his name. I'm not gonna knock. I love to see that, to be honest with you. But I don't know how invested they are in liberation. I just don't know that. I don't know if it's for show or what. I just don't know. Y'all heard me make the same critique of Tariq Nasheed on here. Like, I'm not biting my tongue. I don't know if Tariq Nasheed is really about this push for what he calls foundational Black Americans, to whereas we are trying to get something done legislatively. I don't know that. I'm not seeing that. So, like, we gotta bring these things to the forefront. We have to. It's nobody fighting on our behalf in the right way. Point blank, period. And I know this, ruffle some feathers, but somebody got to ruffle them. Somebody got to ruffle them. And it is what it is. So, all right, let's get into some of. I want to get into the stimulus thing real quick. I want to get into this real quick. I'm not going to read through this whole thing, so we'll just touch on it. The stimulus package is not being passed because Mitch McConnell is obsessed with these liability shields. Why? Let me tell you, family, I'm not going to read through this thing. He's obsessed with these liability shields because plants like Tyson chicken, for instance, where people got sick from COVID. They got sick because Tyson lied to them. They knew what the CDC was proposing. They took President Trump's television talking points, because Trump knew how serious it was, used it to keep that plant open, knowing that the chances of spreading COVID was greater because they worked with blood. All right, we ain't got to get into no technical terms. They worked with blood. All somebody had to do was sneeze around some of that meat, and you got a whole. Anyway, a lot of people got sick. They're suing. The executives at the Tyson plant were betting. They were betting money on how many people would get sick. These dudes had a over-under pool. These are the people that lobby government, lobby people like they put money in Mitch McConnell's campaign. I should have looked that up. I didn't think about it until just now. How much did Tyson Chicken or whatever the parent company is, because sometimes there's a parent company, contribute to Mitch McConnell, and we'll find the answer. And so now millions of Americans have to suffer. They've been suffering since the summer when the lawsuits first started to pop up. That's why no new bill had been passed, because McConnell had to make a promise. Don't worry, I'm not going to pass anything that's going to get you sued, although several people have died in this plant. Do you understand the nature of this beast? These people are beasts. And this is why we opened up with what we opened up with, because they are merciless. These people are without mercy. They will watch every last one of us die if they will, and so long as they can hold on to their power, prestige, and their money. Like, we gotta, brother, go in, Ali. I'll be done. I'm on one a day.
Yeah, no, bro, I mean, I have to agree with you. I have to agree with what you're saying, in terms of the fact that we're dealing with beasts, man. These people are demonic. They're demonic. So all of this stuff for them is about money.
That's right.
It's about money. It's not about the actual lives of any human beings in this country, the ones who are the taxpayers, the ones who vote for these people to be the representatives in Congress. It's not about that. Their thing is about money. How can they line their pockets? How can they secure the jobs that they're looking for themselves and their people? And that's it. That's it, man. It's a very disgusting situation.
Facts. All right, are we gonna get into the Biden audio? Right? We're gonna take our time on that one. I want to bring up two more things real quick. I want to bring peace, BT, Majestic DeAndre, and everybody else that's chiming in. Let me pull this comment up. Squad Zell said, I told y'all we fighting a ruthless enemy. These people are ruthless. Like, these people are ruthless.
Yeah.
We running around like the emasculation of our men is an ongoing program by the liberal left. The Republican right wants to keep our men locked up, basically, except the ones that will vote Republican. How do we know that this is true and not conjecture on my part? Lindsey Graham, during his debate with Jamie Harrison in the South Carolina Senate run, said almost verbatim, you can travel to parts of South Carolina if you're a black person, just so long as you're a conservative. He said this, family. This man said this. He just green lighted. If you got a Biden or old Obama sticker on your Biden camera or old Obama sticker on your car, he just green lighted the white supremacists in that state to harm you, basically. If you read between the lines.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look, man. I want to bring up something. I ain't going to stay on this long. I just want to show how crazy this must be for the action to be taking place by the agency, particularly who heads this agency, to take such action. This is from the Equal Justice Initiative website. Justice Department sues Alabama over unconstitutional prison conditions. And this is a door from this prison. That looked like brain blood. Like that looks like brain blood. That thick plasma that you see come out of skulls right there. That's what that looks like to me.
Damn.
I ain't no blood expert, but you grow up where I grew up at and you've seen the things that I've seen. That's just what it looks like. It reads, and I'm not going to read this whole thing. The U.S. Department of Justice today filed an unprecedented civil rights complaint against the state of Alabama, alleging that the state's indifference to the systemic problems in Alabama's prisons for men violates the Constitution. The Justice Department's intervention, not just into a single prison, but an entire state prison system, is a rare move. Not just this prison, fam. Not just this prison.
Mm-hmm.
The whole state of Alabama. They have a network going on there. A network. It reads, signed by U.S. Attorney General William Barr, I'm shocked, and filed after more than a year and a half of attempts to negotiate a settlement and preempt this kind of unprecedented intervention. The complaint underscores the seriousness and weight of the allegation. So hold on. Let's unpack that. Brother Ali, did you hear that? They gave them a year and a half to say, stop the madness. Y'all better get it under control.
And they got a year and a half to fix it.
They had a year and a half to fix it. Let me scroll down.
Wow.
Matter of fact, I'll just read these next two. The department alleges that since April 2019, when it notified Alabama's governor that the state's prisoners are housed in unconstitutional conditions, and even throughout the course of multiple rounds of negotiations, Alabama has failed or refused to correct these conditions. Instead, the state's prisons have become more overcrowded. Homicides have increased, and violence and sexual abuse remains unabated. The complaint alleges that Alabama prisoners continue, quote, daily to endure a high risk of death, physical violence, and sexual abuse, end quote, and concludes that the United States has determined that that constitutional compliance cannot be obtained through voluntary means. This means the Fed is now about to step in.
They have to.
Private prisons. If these are private prisons, like, I mean, what you want to say on that, Brother Ali?
No, I would just say that they have to. I mean, in terms of, like, look, I know that a lot of people don't care about prisoners, right? But the one thing that we always have to remember, one of the things that the Equal Justice Initiative came out with, as well as the Innocence Project, is that Black people make up the majority of the wrongful convictions in this country, and they make up the majority of the exonerations in this country. So even though a lot of times we tend to ignore the incarcerated, we always have to remember that a lot of our people are in there based on trumped up charges, falsify police reports, you name it, right? Um, and so and so we got to think in terms of the basic fundamental right to life. Right now, I know that there are a lot of other rights that are taken from people once they're incarcerated, but the basic right to life, they're not in jail. Everybody's not in jail based on death sentences. So we should definitely be concerned about the lives of people who very well could be innocent. Like the brother, I think his name was Brandon. A lot of people were calling for Trump to exonerate him before, not exonerate, to overturn his
Mm-hmm.
conviction,
At
and,
least the life
to stay,
sentence.
yeah, to stay
Mm-hmm.
his execution.
Stay his
But
execution.
they, I think they executed the brother regardless. And so, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, but there was a question about his innocence. There was questions about his innocence. And so
Mm-hmm.
there's so many, again, man, there's so many of us who have been incarcerated who are actually innocent, and not guilty of the crimes that were, that we're convicted of. And so I think that the feds do need to step in and at least deal with the individual's right to life inside of these institutions, people who are not incarcerated with death sentences.
Definitely. Yeah, fam. Make sure y'all hit the like button. Share this out. We talking about it. We're talking about it. I want to get to one more thing that right. I wanted to bring this up, and this speaks to the issues that we have being an underclass in the United States of America, even when you're rich. So let's look at this. Hey, how do you get rid of this thing right here? Is in the way. Anyway, it says Lil Wayne sells his masters to Universal Music Group for over $100 million. Now, we got to understand this, right? Let's read this part, right? It says
Mm-hmm.
Lil Wayne is cashing in. The Young Money boss has reportedly sold his masters to Universal Music Group for more than 100 million. According to TMZ, the lucrative deal happened in June, but was not made public until now as part of a lawsuit from Wayne's former manager. Let me see. Ronald Sweeney is suing Wayne for over 20 million, claiming the rapper hired him in 2005 to help renegotiate his deal with Birdman and Cash Money. Wayne settled the Cash Money suit in May 2018, but Sweeney says he only received a few payments from that settlement, which were nowhere near what he believes that is owed. So, I mean, obviously this goes into um, a lawsuit, but it goes into the bigger picture about capital for our people,
Liquidity.
that even when you're rich,
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
not rich enough.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It says Wayne's reported $100 million deal comes after Kanye West tried to buy back his masters from Universal over the summer. However, he said his efforts were being thwarted by several contracts he signed, yada, yada, yada. So, Ali Bey,
Yep.
Brother Ali, can you explain to people how important owning your masters are in the music business?
Master ownership is very important, particularly when it comes to the issue of licensing. Um, so what it is the original recording, and the original recording is what gets licensed to different companies who want to use your music for different things. So, for instance, um, movie companies, television production companies, you know, uh, Muzak, which is a company that does elevator music, different things like that. Owning the masters, whenever someone licenses the usage of a master, there's also a licensing fee that comes along with it. Record companies make ton of money off of licensing fees. Licensing fees is where a lot of money is made. And so, for instance, let's take a Marvel movie. Let's take a Marvel movie, for instance. These are some of the biggest selling movies that are being made. So let's say I did a song that I own the masters to, right? And they want to place it in a movie. And two, understand placement inside of movies, depending on where in the movie the song is placed and how long they use the song in the movie, all of that stuff makes a big difference in terms of licensing fee as well as mechanical royalties coming off of it, which is a whole separate thing. So at the end of the day, the usage of the master by, let's say, Marvel inside of a Marvel movie that does whatever it does, right? That master fee is going to get paid to whoever it is that owns the master. So if the artist owns the master, he's going to make that fee off of that Marvel movie. If the record company owns the master, then they're going to make the money off of that. And so this is just another way for artists to be in control of where the music lands and what kind of and the money that is made off of the actual intellectual property. So it's just more than one way of making money, not just off of publishing royalties, but off of licensing of um, the actual master recording that contains the intellectual property. So regardless of whatever it is, the artist is if whoever the publisher is going to get paid, but at the same time, whoever owns the master is going to get paid off of the mastering. So let's say if I own the master and the publishing, I get both of those things. So
Mm-hmm.
I might be able to do a deal with Marvel for my movie inside of the next Black Panther movie, right? I mean, my song inside of the next Black Panther movie, I can do a deal with them I can do a licensing fee for say $250,000 based on where they put this song in the movie. And if I can do that and then collect the publishing royalties off of it as the movie plays and plays and plays and all of this kind of stuff, because the more something plays, the more money you make off of publishing. That is great for me as the owner of the master and the owner of the actual copyright. So that's the thing. That's why it's very important to own masters, because the more you can license the usage of the actual container of the music, the more money you stand to make. And so that's where record companies make a lot of money. They make a lot of money on licensing.
Indeed. I mean, so at any given time, this company that Lil Wayne sold his music to
Yeah.
can throw one of his tracks in a movie,
Mm-hmm.
and they are, if if I heard you correctly, they're gonna get the money off of the licensing fee and not Lil Wayne.
That's right. He no longer
Gee,
has any rights to the masters. They do.
gee. Okay. See what I mean, family? This is us here in America. And you can, as Lil Wayne does, try to pretend that racism doesn't exist.
But let me say this:
Mm-hmm.
$100 million is, a lot of money, right? Especially to those of us who have nothing. But
Mm-hmm.
understand he didn't just sell one song. He
Mm-hmm.
sold the rights to his entire catalog.
That's right.
So
That's right.
they can make that $100 million back
Easy.
and then some, because they're
I
gonna
mean,
license the hell out of that stuff. They're gonna put that stuff everywhere. And then in perpetuity, they can consistently do this. They can put it in this, put it in that. They'll take his hit records. They'll put it in video games. They'll license it
mm-hmm.
to PlayStation, their Xbox. They'll license that stuff everywhere.
That's right.
Everywhere that you hear it, whether it's on a video game that you're playing on your home system, that was a licensing deal that was done by the person who owns the master and the company who is going to be distributing the game.
Look, Sister Black Magic said he did that for 100 million, but Bezos makes 13.4 million per hour.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
But
Juanita
Bezos
Murray.
is in a service industry. Like his thing, he provides a service that's constantly being used. This thing is based on a product. It's a difference between a product and then a service. Lil Wayne is dealing with a product. Bezos is dealing with services that the country is using. The country's needs, you know, whatever he's got going on. You see what I'm saying? It's because everybody has to go shopping. And so being in, it's kind of different. It's kind of a weird thing to compare like that. And I get the point that's being made in terms of the level of money being dealt with, but you know, his thing is limited because his is just a commodity, right? It's so if you say a master, it's one thing. And so
Mm-hmm.
in order to make money off of that, now you have to license the usage of that thing over and over and over to consistently make money. Whereas Bezos is dealing with a service industry that provides, look, we'll ship products to different things to you because I know you need those paper towels, you need this, it's kind of a different thing.
Definitely. All right. So look, let's get into this audio now of Joe Biden. And we're gonna break this thing down as we're listening. For those of you who are just coming in, hit the the thumbs up button. Also subscribe to the channel so that you can get notifications. Become a part of the Notification Nation family. And also, if you are subscribed already, hit the bell icon next to the subscribe button so that you can get all notifications from when we go live. If you just hit subscribe, you don't get all notifications. You just get some notifications. If you hit the bell icon next to it, you get every notification. Hit that notification button, family. Share this out as well. If you would like to contribute to our platform, you can use the super chat. You can also Cash App us at Be the Power using the Cash App handle, $ Be the Power. You could become a Patreon member as well. Our social media accounts are in the description of this video. Join our Facebook group as well. We're going to really start concentrating a lot of our energy in that Facebook group. And it's our job to really become active. And right now, while we're about to hit another settle down phase with COVID, I think that it's imperative that we start really building and coming up with plans and infrastructure on how we need to move forward on the grassroots, boots on the ground level. So make sure you join our Facebook group. That link is in the description as well. So let's get into let's get into let's get into this Biden audio because this thing right here, boy. Like I gotta be honest, some of it, when you understand politics, even at a base level, in a way, you understand what Biden is saying, what he's getting at. But in another sense, trying to appeal to a captured group is silly. Susan Collins from Maine, horrible. All political forecasters said she wasn't going to make it. She made it, but the state went to Trump. This happened on Georgia itself went to Biden. I mean, excuse me, the state went to Biden. Georgia itself went to Biden. Georgia went to Biden. Went to Biden. So, like, we got to think it was just some people of their group that didn't like Donald Trump. and he lost. Trying to appease to a group of people that comes out in droves along the party lines is just. Anyway, let's get to this thing, man.
Welcome to Deconstructed. I'm Ryan Grimm.
We ready to go?
Hello.
On Tuesday, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris held a private Zoom call with a small group of civil rights leaders from across the country.
And Ali, let me know any place that you want to jump in on. We're going to do some pausing and stopping and stuff. So, and touch on some of this stuff. So just say pause or stop it right there or something.
It's a completely closed call. So just want to remind you of that. There's no recording.
Clearly, somebody did record. And now I have a copy of it, and now you're listening to it. Present for the Zoom was Derek Johnson, president of the NAACP, Vanita Gupta, a former ACLU attorney who was Obama's Civil Rights Division head, the Reverend Al Sharpton, Sherilyn Ifill, Melanie Campbell, who is the president of the National Coalition on Black Civic Participation, and soon-to-be former Congressman Cedric Richmond, who Biden has named an assistant to the president. In many ways, it was a Zoom call like any other.
Can't hear you, Cedric. You're on mute.
It also included a few Biden-esque boasts.
I'm the first person, black or white, who called attention to the fact that you were finding that there was the rate of people who were African Americans are dying was 3 times that of white people. I don't carry around a stamp on my head saying progressive and I'm AOC, but I have more of a record of getting things done in the United States Congress than anybody you know.
Okay, I want to pause it.
Wow. Wow. That sounded like a shot at AOC to me, right? Mm-hmm. Some real and then his record of getting things done. I mean, my goodness, man, come on.
What did he get done?
The man wanted to cut Social Security. There's a number of things that he wanted to do, and then there's a number of things that he did do. But how beneficial was it for our particular community who he's talking down to right now?
What has he done? He said, I'm no AOC. AOC just got here. What was that, 2018?
Right.
She just got here. What are you talking about? You're no progressive. You are a red Democrat. That's what you are, Biden, a red Democrat. Mm-hmm. Your policies, the policies that you push. Let's continue. We had to call that out because that was just crazy.
Anybody you know.
Some Biden cringe.
By 2040, this country is going to be minority white European. You hear me? Minority white European. And you guys are going to have to start working more with Hispanics who make up a larger portion of the population than y'all do.
Oh, hold up. What is one of the main charges of the right wing, particularly the alt-right, is that the white man in the United States of America is being replaced. They are being reduced in numbers. It is one of the reasons why they fight against abortion. It's not necessarily abortion for blacks. They love that. We could wipe each other out. It's abortions. They're against abortions for their own people because in their eyes, they have to expand the white race. And if they can radicalize the son or daughter of a liberal Democrat, then they are doing their job. Yeah. They're doing their job. Remember, during the presidential debate in the primaries, Biden said, when asked about reparations for the descendants of African-American slaves, he said, the Latinos or the Hispanics, whichever one of them words he used, are the future of this country, and we need to be investing in them. So now we hear a repeat of his thought process. I want you to touch on that, Ali. I just want to play that back, that little snippet back, just real quick.
And you got the United States Congress and anybody you know.
Some Biden cringe.
By 2040, this country is going to be minority white European. You hear me? Minority white European. And you guys are going to have to start working more with Hispanics, who make up a larger portion of the population than y'all do.
And some Biden temper.
Let's get something straight. You shouldn't be disappointed. What I've done so far is more than anybody else has done this far.
My bad. Hold on.
Number one. Number
I wanted
two,
you to touch on that.
I mean,
did you want to touch on?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead, Brother Ali.
Okay, so I was looking at the chat and some people kind of already was hitting at it. But let me just say this, right? And I know we've touched on it on a couple of programs already. But I think it's important that we drill this and really bring this home with our people and for our people who understand, to begin to spread this to their families so that they understand, and their friends so that they understand. There is no group in this country. There is no one ethnic group in this country that is larger than the descendants of slavery. Not a single one. I don't care what they're telling you. I don't care what they're telling you. But see, this is what, let me explain to y'all a trick that's being played. When they're talking to us, quote unquote, African Americans, they're talking to us as an ethnic group. If you look up the term African American, it's not a race, right? Because racial names or classifications encompass multiple ethnic groups. Understand what's going on. Latino or Hispanic is in essence a racial name. It is not an ethnicity the way they're trying to pretend that it is. It's actually a racial name, because underneath Latino or underneath Hispanic comes a number of ethnic groups: Puerto Ricans Americans, Mexican Americans, Cuban Americans, Costa Rican Americans, Dominican Americans, you name it, right? A number of ethnic groups that fall underneath the name Latino or Hispanic. The same way underneath the white racial name, you get a number of ethnic groups: Irish Americans, Italian Americans, German Americans, Anglo Americans, Portuguese, whatever it is. Underneath that racial class, underneath the black racial classification, you'll get African Americans, Jamaican Americans, Nigerian Americans, Kenyan Americans, you name it, right? Those are all ethnic classifications underneath the quote unquote black race. Same with the white race, same with the Hispanic or Latino race. Don't let them fool you. So when they're comparing Latinos to African Americans, what they're actually doing is comparing a number of ethnic groups that they're grouping together within this racial classification, and then they're comparing it to your individual ethnic group, the African American. And right. Then by doing that, they're able to say, see, these people outnumber you. But they really don't outnumber you, because if you disaggregate the Hispanic groups, what you're going to find is the Puerto Rican Americans do not outnumber African Americans. What you're going to find is that Mexican Americans do not outnumber African Americans. That ethnic group doesn't. Dominican Americans do not outnumber African Americans. So the same thing with Anglo Americans. Anglo Americans do not outnumber African Americans. Neither do Italian Americans. So what I'm telling you is that there is no ethnic group in this country that outnumbers the descendants of slavery. Not a single one.
That's right. That's right. All right, now let's family. Like, you know, some people took issue with the show we did on blackness, and rightfully so. Rightfully so. It's a touchy subject, but what my brother Ali just broke down is vital. It's vital in understanding how race works in the United States of America. And the fact of the matter is there's only one way to fix it, and it's just by eliminating the racial classifications. Because by Biden saying what he says when he says that the Latinos are the second largest, because I used to say that until my brother Ali, man, and right here on Be the Power, broke down the fact that we are the largest ethnic group in the United States of America. One statistic did say German Americans was more, but my brother questioned that, and I'm riding with my bro. So, but
no doubt,
race
because
is a problem.
I think in terms of the German, just to address that, them saying German Americans are the largest. The way they're saying it is German Americans are the largest, and then African Americans is the second largest ethnic group in the country.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem with German American is that you're talking about people who are now going to be choosing multiple things. So Europeans have this thing about being considered the majority. This is why they classed everybody together as the white race. Because by doing that, if I can bring German Americans, Italian Americans, Portuguese Americans, Spaniard Americans, Russian Americans, you name it, all underneath this white thing, then we can pretend and perpetuate this myth of a white majority.
That's right. And now with we see the same thing happening with the Hispanics. They're catering to them. I drive past this construction site every day. It's almost all Mexicans. How do you bypass the people that live in this community looking for jobs? And you cater, because the socio-political constructs that the United States of America came up with under Federal Directive 15 is another way that they keep us at the bottom, family. It is a psychological thing. It's like how we showed in that particular live stream, the horse being tied to a plastic chair. The horse doesn't try to move, and it could drag that chair all over the world. 100 maybe of those chairs. It's strong enough to drag. The leash, in our case, the rope, is this term, and this is my opinion, blackness. There's a limitation with it. It's not historical. It's emotional. And that emotion is centered around our mistreatment here in the United States of America, and we understand that. But now, as we become more politically mature, we must understand what we must do so that we could break this particular glass ceiling and shatter these limitations and expectations that come from low expectations that come from the people who call themselves white in the United States of America.
Can I say something else
ahead,
about
brother.
Just how disrespectful what this man was saying actually is? The Latinos did not deliver his presidency to him. They didn't deliver the primary to him. South Carolina wasn't delivered to him by the Latinos. I don't care what he thinks their number is. They didn't deliver Florida to him, even though him and Kamala spent all kind of time down there in Florida trying to flip those Cubans who was not with him. Let him know publicly that they wasn't with him. So I don't understand how these people sat there and let him talk to them like that. There's no way in hell that I could have sat and let that man talk the way that he was talking without interrupting. That would have went left real quick, man.
I was thinking that. It's so funny. I was thinking that the Crooklyn, New York, I don't know what I don't know if I ain't gonna try to pronounce the end of it. ANOE. He said the tone of his voice was a problem for me, and they sat there and didn't say a damn thing. I would have barked on that dude. Hey, yo, hold up, my man. Hold up.
Exactly.
Who are you talking to? Hold up.
Ooh,
Who are you talking
yo.
to? Nah, yo, scale that back, dude. You
Yep.
ain't nah.
That's how it would have started. That's how it would have started. And they would, it would have just went left. And man, I'd have told everybody in there, F you Sambo Coons for sitting here letting this dude talk to you like this.
F you and
like,
your
man,
mama for letting him sit here and talk like this. Is you crazy? This is why we got to get in politics, family. This is why we have to become the power, period. Because I would have barked on that dude. I would have barked on him. You crazy? All right, let's get into some more of this thing, man.
I say when I say it.
But it was also a space for an airing of, if not grievances, at least slight disappointments, and a forum for civil rights leaders.
He's talking to them like he's a slave master. That's how he's talking to them.
Yep.
Lobbying on everything from personnel to executive action to legislation. Many of those in the meeting urged Biden to be aggressive in his use of executive power.
I want to ask that you consider issuing an executive order to.
Now, let's right here. They're like, yo, Trump was executive order crazy, Biden. We want you to do the same thing for us. Peep what this guy says. Listen, y'all.
Create a national task force to examine challenges to our democracy, a national voter access commission.
It's going to be important, for example, that one of your first actions is a reversal of the executive order that President Trump promulgated that essentially seeks to gag conversations about diversity, race, and history among anyone who contracts with the federal government. And so we would ask you to lend your voice and your strength and your influence and your power and your ability to reach across the aisle to try and pass the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. But failing that, we would ask you to pull from that act measures that can be enacted by executive order. You have the power to call for a national database on police misconduct. You have the power to ask for a registry that will allow people to easily search in public multiple misconduct complaints against particular officers. You have the ability to impose a database around police killings and police shootings. And these are things that you can do by executive order. There is a prison tragedy that is unfolding because of COVID. I encourage you to use your power to order an investigation of state and local prisons and jails to find out precisely what is happening. And you have that power through the Department of Justice.
And here's Al Sharpton.
We don't care about throwing fists in the air and the symbols. We want the substance. The Joe Biden I've known.
Hold on, fam. Hold on.
And you have that power through the Department of Justice.
All right, hold on. And I want to get through this thing. We might we be sat here for 2 more, but peep their approach. You know, Biden, we ask that you, we ask what? Hey, yo, check this out, Joe. If it wasn't for my people, you wouldn't be here right now talking to us. So this is what we need you to do. And we won't accept anything other than this. We need the George Floyd. Like, you got to start talking to these people like you got some spine and some backbone. This is why brothers like us, particularly brothers like us at BTP, Be the Power. Somebody left a comment, one of my favorite comment on every channel, every video that we did, excuse me. It said, I like these BTP brothers. They're so masculine. That was my favorite comment out of all of the comments we got. I always got to be honest. I ain't knocking nobody else's good comments. I'm just saying, I love that one. Because if I'm sitting there, or Ali, or Josh, or Brother Logic, we not pussyfooting with this dude Biden. We not telling him, hey, Mr. Biden, what? We stopping all of that tough talk. Yo, Mr. President, I'm gonna address you respectfully by the title, but you're gonna have to calm that tone down. I don't know. You used to talking to the mother type of black people in the CBC. I'm not one of those people. Calm your tone down first and foremost. Second, this is what we want. Period. Period. This is why we have to become the power. You want to speak to that real quick, Ali?
Nah, you know what? I'll say this. I had to be honest. After the last little clip you played, I actually turned it off because I was so pissed from what I was hearing.
Oh, you
I
ain't
didn't even listen to the rest of it. Nah, I don't even know. I was like, man, I can't listen to this.
Oh man. All right, let's go finish going through it. This is crazy.
And here's Al
Here
Sharpton.
go Al Sharpton, y'all.
We don't care about throwing fists in the air and the symbols. We want the substance. The Joe Biden I've known is substance. The Kamala Harris I've known is substance. We need it now more than ever.
Pause. What substance? What substance?
Man, he's stroking their egos.
What substance? The 94 crime bill, Reverend Al? That is the most significant thing that Joe Biden has done as a politician. Name something more significant than Biden's 94 crime bill, Sharpton.
And he knows that. Maybe that's what he was trying to get at. Maybe he was trying to, in his own little slick way, say, look, you owe us, we did this, whatever. You know, I mean, you did that bill back in 90, whatever, and so, you know, we voted you in through the primaries and through this general election. Now you owe us. So maybe that's his way of trying to roundabout say, look, you know, you were substantive in this area. Now we need substance going back the other way. But he should, to me, if that's what he was trying to do, he should have just came out and said it. I don't know why, like you said, why they pussyfooting with this dude. Just say what you mean.
And I would hope that on the first day you start doing the things with your executive orders to restore some dignity to law enforcement in our community and the voters.
Hold on. Did you hear that?
Yep.
Not everybody else up there is begging for police reform. Biden says we would hope on the first day that you would use your executive power to restore the dignity to our police department. What does that mean exactly? The dignity? When was the police department of the United States of America ever a dignified institution? When
they're acting as the strong arm for white supremacy.
Man, oh man. This is why we got to become the power family.
Biden.
But I don't know what Al Sharpton's talking about. I don't know what he's talking about because I don't understand when the police department, like you're saying, when has the police department ever had a relationship with the Black community that was one that where everybody was comfortable with it? I don't know what he's talking about.
Oh, it's crazy, man. People in the chat, they saying they getting aggravated. So I can understand you why you said you cut it off.
Yeah.
All right. I want to, because some of this is long. I'm gonna play a little bit. I think he's gonna get to Barbara, but it's kind of all right. Look, let's play it through.
The amount of power is present.
Let's try to play it through, get through it. We already an hour in, and then we'll chop it up on the back end. But it's hard to resist not saying nothing. But there's a long part where he's talking about somebody that gets fired because she didn't know how to deal with him as a white person. So I'll play it through.
2 episodes ago, we devoted an entire show to just that. Turns out that Biden does not appear to be a deconstructed subscriber. Here's how he responded to those calls.
There's some things that I'm going to be able to do by executive order. I'm not going to hesitate to do it. But what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to do what used to, Benita, you probably used to get angry with me during the debates when you'd have some of the people you were supporting say, on day one, I'm going to executive order to do this. Not within the constitutional authority.
See? You see? He's lecturing to them. He's telling them, yeah, there's going to be some things that I'm going to do on day one with my executive power, but I'm not going to do the stuff y'all want me to do. Sorry. This is what he's telling them. No pushback. Nothing. What's your thoughts on that, Ali? I think you muted if you're trying to talk. All right, we got brother Josh
My
that
bad.
just joined us. Did you want to speak to that?
Yeah, they should. I'm sorry, man. I didn't know I was muted. Yeah, they should have been
Peace,
pushing
family.
back.
Peace,
Josh. Yeah, they should have been pushing back, man. I don't understand that weak, lame stuff, man, where they sitting there acting like they don't know what his constitutional authority is. You got the authority to use executive power. They just
Especially, it's supposed to be a private call. You know what I mean? It's one thing if you are talking to an audience, or if there's a wide audience around the country, around the world that can hear you, and the president, rule number one on 48 laws of power: never outshine the master. So you don't want to oppose him in front of the world. But this is a private call. So this is a situation where you're supposed to be able to, respectfully put your positions out there and hold your ground and push back. You're supposed to be able to do that. Because guess what? It may be 2020 right now, but it's going to be 2022, not too far down the line. It's going to be after a while, it's going to be 2024. And all this stuff that you're doing, opposing us when we're asking for simple things, we're not, and I don't know what their ask is. I think part of that is the problem. They haven't made the ask clear, loud, and they haven't put enough wind behind the sail of getting that thing moving. But all I'm trying to say is you're supposed to be able to ask for something. You're supposed to be able to say, this is what we want. And we got to keep in context. We always got to have in the front of our mind and on the tip of our tongue that we are owed a debt. So it's one thing if like other groups where they ask for all kind of goodies. You don't even see other groups out here loud and protesting and doing all this kind of stuff to get anything really. If they do, they're getting extra stuff and goodies and things that we can't even get enough people to support us to get what we're owed. We are owed a debt.
All right, look, Josh, let's I didn't mean to cut you, bro. I want to get to the meat of this thing. Matter of fact, I want to skip some of this because I think this is the part where he goes to talking about the I don't know if it's Barbara Boxer. I don't really want to get into that part of it, but I just kind of want to get through this so we could, take this screen down and have this conversation. Ali said in the private chat that it might get blocked because of the intercept link. So I might have to put a disclaimer in there, fair use notice, something.
You mean
So let's
Barbara Lee.
Barbara Lee. Okay, cool. Let me see.
This was pointed out to me that you wanted me to be concerned, Derek. I think it was you said.
All right, hold on.
It is our goal as NAACP, it is our to bring forward. I understand the reference that many of them have.
Back at the USDA. But this new job would focus on fixing the agency's race issues. She said she didn't want that burden and turned it down. Flash forward 10 years again and back to Johnson.
Shirley Sherrod is a civil rights legend, a hero. I live in the state of Mississippi. I'm surrounded by civil rights icon, and I understand the reference that many of them have, particularly in rural areas. So I want to make sure that as you consider appointments, that you do so with November 5th in mind, so that we don't miss an opportunity to be able to get confirmed some of the outstanding candidates that you're going to bring forward. If you decide to take that route, I strongly encourage you to reach out to Ms. Sherrod, have a conversation with her. I strongly encourage you to talk to Black farmers so that you have a clear understanding of the impact any decision can have on the January 5th election. It is our goal as NAACP, it is our goal as civil rights community for this administration to be successful. And it can only be the success we needed to be if we have the ability to get good people confirmed.
Biden, however, used the warning on Sherrod as a jumping off point for a counter warning. Don't push too hard on police reform, he told the group, at least not now.
One of the things I'd be concerned about, just as was pointed out to me that you wanted me to be concerned, Derek, I think it was you said it, about, dealing with Vilsack as in terms of agriculture. Well, first of all, you can learn more about Vilsack's record, but my point is this. I don't think we should make that a big issue going into before January 5th when the election takes place down in Georgia. But I also don't think we should get too far ahead of ourselves on dealing with police reform in that, because they've already labeled us as being defund the police. Anything we put forward in terms of the organizational structure to change policing, which I promise you will occur, promise you. Just think to yourself and give me advice whether we should do that before January 5th, because that's how they beat the living hell out of us across the country, saying that we're talking about defunding the police. We're not. We're talking about holding them accountable. I just raised it with you to think about. How much do we push between now and January 5th? We need those 2 seats about police reform, but I guarantee you there will be a full-blown commission. I guarantee you it's a major, major, major element. And as Reverend Al said, I was a pain in the ass to everybody except him when we did the commission before. I didn't think we went far enough. We can go very far. It matters how we do it. I think it matters how we do it. As I learned early on, it's all right to question your opponent, and you're not my.
All right, let's stop right there. I think it ends shortly after that. Whew, there's a lot to unpack right there.
Let me say this.
Go ahead, bro.
In terms of strategy and how he feels this Georgia runoff needs to be approached in terms of rhetoric. I can understand what he's saying there. Because in other words, he's trying to play towards the sensibilities and the fragility of white people, right? Who would easily go the other way in Georgia if, you trying to make them believe that, you want to get rid of the police, right? And we know that the police is definitely one of the last real frontiers that to protect white supremacy, right? So he's trying to make them understand that, hey, we're not trying to just pull an all-out assault on your safety. So on a certain level, I understand why he would say, for the sake of the race in Georgia, let's not push real hard with the police defunding language, which to them will translate into let's get rid of the police. White people ain't trying to hear that, and he knows that. So in order to win that, see, if they win those 2 Senate seats, that gives them a tie. I believe it gives them a tie with the Republicans, where Kamala Harris would, as the vice president, who will be the president of the Senate, would be able to be a tiebreaker. If I'm not mistaken on the numbers, y'all could correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe if they win the 2 Senate seats,
oh yeah,
they would.
That's exactly
that would. Go ahead.
That's exactly what's going to happen. The only issue they would have is this fake Democrat by the name of Manchin. I think it's Joe Manchin. I believe is a Democrat. He's really a Republican that runs as a Democrat and votes a lot of the times with Republicans. Now, there's so many issues, man. I want Josh, I want you to come in after I say this, right? He spoke about this commission, about everybody said he was a pain in the ass except Al Sharpton. And we just seen Al Sharpton singing this man's praises while everybody else was pleading for him to use his power to do something about the fact that our people are being gunned down. You see, because it can't just be police reform, because it doesn't just stop there. It has to be overall justice reform.
Yes.
Because it's not just at the police and street level. It's
That's
at
right.
the prosecutorial level and
That's
it's
right.
at the judicial level, where the same system of baked-in discrimination has been perpetual since the Reconstruction period. And it hasn't
Yes,
let up.
Lord.
It hasn't let up. So they know. See, the people that's sitting in that Zoom meeting, they're thinking one-track minded. That's all they see is, how do we just stop the police? This is not broad enough. This is why we got to enter. We got to become the power, family. Yo, I can't wait to get from behind this microphone. I do not, and I ain't gonna say I don't enjoy doing this. I do. It's therapeutic someday. Like tonight, this was a good therapy for me to get on here and talk about these issues, because they start to pile up and they start to bother you after a while. I'm not a rhetorician. I can get professorial and speak a certain type of way, but I'm not in that regard. In the regard that I need to reach the people in the streets and bring our voter participation from 12.5% to 80%. That's what I'm on right now. That's where I'm at with it. Everything else is just talk. And I'm just talking right now. I still got to be about what I'm talking about. And, you know, it remains to be seen. But I gave myself my word on which way I need to go forward, just me personally. So I don't have to give my word to anybody else. As long as I stand up to my own word, as we say, as 5%ers, when I used to be a 5%er, my word is bond, and bond is life, and I give my life before my word shall fail. So, Brother Josh, did you have anything to add on that last clip? Did y'all want me to play that again or what?
Well, when I hear him say that, it's like, why are you speaking on that? Like, that is definitely something that police reform is definitely something we're asking for, but that's not at the front of our ask. That may have been the most politicized issue, the issue that got the most attention, but as we've seen surveys show, that's not the number one issue that we're concerned about. That's just the one that gets politicized the most, because that's the one that they fear that can swing or damage the election in terms of getting the voters. I mean, in terms of getting the senators elected in Georgia. Now, of course, Biden. I mean, it's just so bad because it's coming from him. Now, it may have that gripe may have merit coming from Democrats. We just don't want to hear it come out your mouth, Biden. We don't want to hear that come out your mouth. Basically saying stop asking for police reform because they're gonna link you to defund the police, and we don't need that because we need to win Georgia. Okay, well, what do you need to be asking us instead of you telling us what we need to do. You need to be telling us what you are going to do and so that's why he knew that. That's why he came out. I promise you, it's going to be a commission on this. Well, what about a commission for reparations? If you can study police reform, you can study reparations.
That's right.
If you can do that, you can study reparations. You just do it. That's what if you said something like, "Well, shut up about police reform right now. We're going to do a commission on that, and we're going to do a commission to study reparations." Then maybe we would hear you out. But you don't get to tell us a damn thing, Biden, about what we need to do. You need to be telling us. You need to be telling us what you're going to do. Matter of fact, we see the problem is we should be telling him what he need to do. Because that's probably I didn't get the whole transcript and I didn't hear the whole playback of that meeting, but I'm pretty certain that's not what was done. What was not done is telling him what he need to do
that wasn't done at all.
delivering him to get him as a nominee, and for us getting him into the White House. We need to be telling him what they should have been telling him what he need to do.
Yo, let me. This is what I would have said to him. As the president, what we need you to do is make the Justice Department work when there are actual civil rights violations. We don't need that kind of BS that took place when Michael Brown was killed in Ferguson. We need the Justice Department to actually work and do what it's designed to do. Prosecute civil rights violation cases. Underneath Title 18, that's where we're supposed to be able to find justice. A lot of these cases involving these police are Title 18 violations. That was a Title 18 violation that happened with Mike Brown, but they decided that it wasn't.
That's right.
That's what we need. The Department of Justice falls underneath the executive branch of government. Make that work. We don't need no commission. We don't need no commission. It's nothing to study, right? The Justice Department can do a fact-finding mission. That's a part of the job of prosecutors anyway. You're supposed to find the facts and determine whether or not some kind of violation occurred that's worthy of prosecution. Do that. And at the same time, one of the things that has been proposed in New York City for many years, I don't know if they actually have one or not, is a Citizens Complaint Review Board, where you have a Citizens Review Board that is in place specifically for the purpose of civil rights violations committed by cops against civilians, where and this would be my augmentation to it, a Citizens Complaint Review Board in these cities that have the power to prosecute police officers, right? To be able to bring a case before a grand jury outside of the DA's office, because the Citizens Complaint Review Board will be empowered with a special prosecutor in order to be able to bring cases against police officers when they actually violate people's civil rights in this country, and bring actual charges against them and to be able to prosecute them in a court of law. Because the problem is, prosecutors are very often in bed with the police officers and they don't want to go against each other. A lot of times these people are good friends. A lot of times they're family members. Some of these prosecutors, they're family members of police officers. So they don't want to go against each other, and they work closely together when it comes down to prosecuting other criminals, right? So that's a problem. So in these instances, we need special prosecutors. Whenever there's a police shooting, there should always be a special prosecutor. It should never be the regular guys from the DA's office.
That's right.
It should never be that.
That's right. So, I mean, look, we, like I said in the beginning of this stream, where are our warriors? We are our warriors, man. Our struggle is so prevalent because it is being used by every other group to advance, much like affirmative action. But for us, it is watered down. It is weakened. It is, what they give us is, if you ever had a fever, right? Let's just say your child has a fever and you give them the fever reducing medicine and it's not working. Start looking up the ingredients, and what you're giving the child is a whole bunch of liquid syrup, right? And suspended within that liquid syrup is a portion of the medicine used to break the fever. It's the same rules they use to create food addicts. That's why it's all sugary sweet. But if you go to the hospital will give the child a concentrated form of that, whatever the active ingredient is in that fever reducing medicine, the doctor will give a small cup to a child, and within 20 minutes, that fever begins to break. This is what happens with our people in the United States of America. We get the over-the-counter stuff that doesn't take care of the fever. It's just, it doesn't take care of it. So we have to become addicted to taking this thing because it's addictive, it's sweet, it's appealing, which is what Black politics is today. The medicine itself is appeasing to the palate. Now, every other group, well, they get the extra strength hospital doses of the fever reducer, and it works on them right away. Day one, DACA. What did Kamala say on the debate stage? What are some of the things you're going to do on day one? Well, I can name 5. DACA, guns, and yada, yada. Nothing for us, though.
That's right.
No, nothing for us. You see? So, you know, family, again, the purpose of this platform is, oh, I love that one. Grape flavored politics. I got to put, Sister Shayna put that one up there. Grape flavored politics. I love that one. So, you know, what we're dealing with right now is, man, I'm going to say this. We are more politically aware and mature now, even if it's in a smaller pocket, than we were 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. You know, we got to give King his credit because he pushed for things legislatively. And they did something, man, because our voter participation has been increasingly or decreasingly low over that time. 12.5%. 12.5%. We have to raise those numbers up. We have to become the power, period. Nothing else matters. We could talk about reparations all day and all night, but until one of us gets in those seats in the House of Representatives and the Senate, possibly the presidency, then I don't see how we can just be rhetoricians with our positions. Just don't.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
They're going in the chat. I guess our
doubt.
people getting the lean. What is that called? The don't get me to butchering it.
I don't know.
Brother Josh, you wanted to add something to that? I think
I don't know,
Josh
but
Brother Ali.
Yeah. So in any case, man, I that's my position on it all. Is we don't need a commission. You know, to me, the whole speech was just a really disrespectful thing. You know, I was thinking about it and I'm like, I wonder if Obama coached him and told him, this is how you got to talk to these people. You can't let them, because if you let them run roughshod over you, man, you're going to set a precedent. They're going to keep trying to do it. You got to set the tone from the gate. Let them know who's boss, because that's what I did. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if Biden needed Obama to tell him that or not, because Biden had this attitude with him from the time, you know, of the campaign. He was talking real slick and hot and all that stuff when he was talking to, you know, to black people. Like when he talked to Charlemagne, you ain't black if you don't vote for me. Like, boy, like he was on some, like he was ready to call that dude boy. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I don't even know if he needed Obama to coach him on that, man. But shit, I feel like this Obama didn't help, definitely, because he set the tone for how you're supposed to talk to black people. Kamala followed suit. You know, the rest of them, Bernie, everybody, when they're confronted by ADOS black people, they do the same thing. and do the same thing they did. They figure it's time to start talking down to you because you really ain't shit. You know what I'm saying? That's the way they feel about it. And so that's the way they act, man. But to me, the whole thing was just disrespectful and disgusting. And I've thought ever since the campaign, when he was asked about reparations and started talking about investing in Latinos, that really disgusted me, man. And our people let him get away with that. You know, it's just bad.
All right, Brother Josh came back on. Brother Josh, speak to that, and then I'm going to shut it down after this.
Yeah, had a little audio issue, but when I listen to the tone that Biden uses, I mean, are we really surprised? I know this is making news because it's atrocious, but are we really surprised? And I mean, we've been saying, I think most people are surprised. Most non-ADOS Black folks are surprised. Maybe, I mean, I'm not gonna say most, but maybe some of them are surprised. Maybe a lot of them may be offended, even though they won't even really express too much about it, just because they still, even though Trump has been defeated, they still are the vote blue no matter who, and they still have that attachment to Joe Biden. Even, I mean, it's amazing how people have that attachment because he had a proximity to Obama, and they didn't understand Obama or Biden, you know, and how the con was played. Like, it's crazy. So they give you Obama as supposed to be who you know, trying to sound like Dr. King, and so he's painting himself as ADOS. So that's the con number one. Then Obama gets Biden to signal to white America that, hey, I'm not going to do nothing, you know, for them. I got this dude. He's going to be my right wing, basically neoliberal type dude that's, you know, work with segregationists and all that. So he signaled to them. So it's like a con on top of a con. It's like, but and even with that, and even with what we see from all the stuff that we did working up to the election, we see that people still willing to hold on, you know. And I think it was more so of getting rid of Trump than it was of putting Biden in. But the consequence of only having that as their ask is, I mean, Biden like, and what? Now, you Negroes, y'all ain't gonna don't ask me for nothing. I ain't gonna do nothing. And that's kind of the tone he has, and he kind of just can speak to us in any kind of disrespectful way. But I mean, look, it's just gonna be about us coming together and getting power to push back. We don't have the power to push back right now. We don't have the numbers of people that are gonna be loud enough to make any type of consequences happen from something like this.
That's right.
I want to say this too. This should also be a condemnation of those people who are in that meeting, like Derek Johnson, and I don't think that these people need to just continue just to go through everyday life. There needs to be some type of questioning. Like, there needs to be a debriefing now with the public about how do you like, you need to be facing some I'm not gonna say consequences, but you need to answer for that. You need to answer for the failures that happened at that Zoom meeting, you know, where you didn't say what needed to be said. If we can't count on you as the head of these civil rights organizations, if we can't count on you to say what needs to be said to the person who, I mean, we've delivered to the White House, who, I mean, he owes us a debt. I mean, I'm not even talking about reparations. I'm talking about Biden owes us a debt as far as some type of reciprocity for what we did politically. If you can't push back, if you can't have the conversation the way we need to be had, I mean, You got to answer for that, and maybe you got to go. I don't know. Maybe you got to go. I mean, I think that's obvious, but you know, I don't. Maybe some other people, maybe y'all feel a different way. But I feel
No,
like
I agree.
we need the
No,
right
me
people at
feel
the
the
front,
same
like you said.
exactly.
We need the right folks get the right folks at the table. But I think another part of it too is there's a reason they bring those people to the table. You know,
Oh
it's
yeah,
a
those
reason.
are handpicked
There's a
individuals.
reason. Mm-hmm.
You got Sharpton there, and everybody already know Sharpton probably is the drum major, right? He's leading the band basically. Like, yo, this is how this is gonna go. Don't say. Remember, Sharpton when he was on MSNBC said we're not gonna critique Obama on air. We're not gonna critique him publicly. What? Are you kidding me?
You know what's interesting, bro? Like when we talk about, we always say civil rights organization leaders, but I ain't see nothing but black folks on there. I didn't see, you know, isn't civil rights an American issue? Why is it that when we talk about, it's interesting, we have civil rights organizations, they always black folks. Well, we know it's because black folks are the ones that's been historically interested in the way our getting civil rights actually enforced. You know, enforcing when people violate civil rights, or actually giving civil rights on the books as something that's explicitly stated in the laws. So, a better headline to me should be "Black leaders gets a behind the kiss from Joe Biden." That should be like what somebody needs to write an article summarizing that with that on it. You know, because that's essentially what it is. Because when you say civil rights organization, it's funny because people will talk about civil rights and it'll be like a coalition and all of that. But I didn't see no coalition on that panel. Did y'all see like
The
any
Hispanics?
y'all did y'all see them?
No,
I didn't see nothing.
no,
Did y'all see white folks?
no. Just
Did y'all
token.
see any type of Asian Indians or Asian from
Nope,
China or some whatever? Did y'all see them on there?
nope. Just
Doesn't
Nope.
civil
token.
rights apply to them? So it's I mean, really he's just saying Negroes, y'all not getting nothing.
That's it. Ali, did you want to add anything else before we get up off here?
No, I'm good, bro. We're good.
All right, all right. Somebody said, where can I find this pen? I'm gonna put the link in the chat, family. Y'all check out this disrespectful. This is disrespectful, man. This dude Biden is talking to people like you know, I guess every place got their own slang. In New York, we say he's sunning these people. He's sunning them. Like, and that's his tone. His tone is, as we used to say in the hood, is like when it comes to us, he suns us.
Now let me ask you a question. Do you think he would be talking like this if this was, let's say hypothetically, if this was 2023? Do you think he would be talking like this?
Yeah, because look at what he told Charlemagne. If you ain't black, if you won't vote for me, Trump couldn't have said that. Trump couldn't have said that.
Man, it's a bunch of stuff that was said that if Trump said it, these people would have been going crazy.
So, yeah, bro. Yeah. So, I mean, that's the way he talks. He comes from that old Jim Crow era. That's why I call him Jim Crow Joe. He comes from that era. That's how he's used to talking to Negroes.
You know what? Also, what's funny is when you watch some of these old programs like that depict that you know people uh, that were may have been people who were against slavery during the time of slavery, but they like I said, they were against slavery, but they were still in the position that we are lesser, we're inferior, and all of that. That's how it seems like Joe Biden is one of those type of people. Like, yeah, you know, okay, I'm all for the Negro, you know, being, you know, free and not being a slave, but don't have them at the same footing as the white people. Don't think that you need to get anything extra outside of that. You know, and if you're asking for that, just be grateful that we didn't fought the war and we didn't freed you as a slave. Now you just need to be grateful for whatever we're gonna give you. That's the kind of tone I get from the dude like Joe Biden.
Well,
Yeah.
all right, family, we have come to the end. You know, usually we don't go in on Fridays, but all of this stuff was on my chest, man. I had to talk about it. This stuff is over, and I didn't even really get into a lot of what I wanted to get into about how these Republicans are the right-wing fascists in America, the Trump Republican. I mean, we are living in a new
Gupta.
phase
That's
of
right.
the
She was.
Confederacy. Say it again, Josh.
No, somebody put in Gupta was on there of the ACLU. Yeah, that's what's his So it was one non-ADOS person or one quote unquote black person.
Shana said he learned well from Strom Thurmond. Keep them in there, please. Facts. So, you know, we have this rise of the right-wing fascists in the United States of America, and the rhetoric is becoming dangerous. Some of the rhetoric is being acted upon. I mean, they tried to kidnap the governor of Michigan and Virginia. They weren't close, but you know, the Virginia, it was more of a we gonna get the Michigan governor first, then get the governor of Virginia. Like, you got to remember that, and we got to stress this point that white supremacy is built off of anti-blackness. It's built off of it. The Proud Boys, who now call themselves the Proud Goys, Goy, short for Goyim, which is the Jewish word for nations other than Jews in the biblical narrative. The Proud Goys, they said, we will no longer have any more token Negroes in our group.
Sure did.
They said this. Family, we got to start thinking along the lines of Black Panther-ish warrior class. We gotta find a way to merge all of this together, all of it. Like a lot of the beefs that we have with each other, you know, a lot of it is really just ego driven. One thing I love about myself, right? Speaking of ego, is I learned how to check my ego at the door a long time ago. I learned that a long time ago. I learned how to check my ego at the door because I see the greater purpose. We now, speaking for the team, are on the highway. We in our BTP vehicle. We on the highway of liberation. We mashing the gas. But we got 18-wheelers, armored vehicles, and other super powered vehicles on this highway with the intent purpose of trying to run us off the road. That's their job. That is their job, to run us off the road. For them, the highway of liberation is just the Autobahn, a place where they go to race and see how many of us they could run off the road. Remember, the executives at the Tyson chicken plant were betting over and under style how many people would get COVID after they lied to them about the restrictions, largely Black and Hispanic workers in that plant. We gotta get real. We gotta man up. It's time for the Warriors to step up. Point blank, period. We gotta pull this thing together. I'm gonna end with this. I had a debate. My brother Ali Bey was at that debate with me years ago. Ali Muhammad. Everybody say Ali Muhammad won that debate. And there's a whole bunch of crazy back issues that a lot of people don't know about. So I don't really talk about it that much. I just, hi. Information-wise, I crushed him. He put on a way better performance, though. He put on a way better performance. And because my laptop I had was messed up and, oh, man, I don't even want to talk about what I had to do. I couldn't even hear him live because I had to fix my presentation. But the only thing that I could say to myself was, this clown is entertaining these people, and they love that. So when I would get up, I kept repeating this line. And the line was, I am not here to entertain you. I'm not here to entertain you. And that's the message that I want to leave you here with tonight. And I believe that I can speak for my brothers at Be the Power as well. We are not here for anyone's entertainment. We laugh sometimes on here. Sometimes we a little more serious, but make no mistake about it. None. We are not here to entertain you. This is not edutainment. This is about establishing the groundwork to plant the seeds for the type of political advocacy needed so that we could move forward and be successful. If not, where do we go? Because we're chaos or community. We are in chaos. Every day on Instagram, I watch video after video of young brothers getting gunned down, gunning each other down, gunning each other down. Life has become valueless to our people. We have hit rock bottom. We have hit rock bottom in the barrel of morality.
Man, trying to crack the rock.
Yeah. Basically. So this thing is going to require coalitions on several fronts, and some things may be uncomfortable in a dialogue. Like today, you know, we spoke some things earlier that may make some people uncomfortable if you're in the LGBT community. It's just it is what it is, and you may disagree with it. But if you have this same brown shade of skin that I have, this brown shade of skin that's called black, then you need to recognize that you are not separate from this plight, no matter what you choose to identify as. And that's not just for LGBTQ people. That's if you call yourself Moor or Moorish, if you call yourself Hebrew Israelite, a Kemetic priest, whatever. That doesn't matter. We are sinking further and further and further to the bottom. And you got to be willing to get up and put your life on the line for this thing if it's real to you, with the hopes that your children could carry on the legacy of your fight and be inspired by it. It's just as simple as that. It's time for the warriors to step up. And that's the message that I want to leave y'all with tonight. And I'm going to leave y'all with the motto of our platform. And y'all know what it is. Don't just fight the power, become the power. And then and only then will you have the power to make a change. And with that, I say peace.